for ideas of weapons and vehicles and stuff, or are we thinking the entire trilogy in general, or series in general, including ODST and Breach, for vehicles and weapons and stuff? I think, you're going to see things in this game that are both familiar and new, and that's probably, we look across. So to answer your question, I guess more directly, we do look across the entire trilogy of games as we look at the past sandbox that has existed, and so you will see things that are familiar from past games, but also things that are new. Thank you.
Hi there. I was curious if you guys have talked to the past voice actors from the old Halo, and if they're going to be returning, and just a confirmation to see if Jen Taylor is Cortana, because it was kind of iffy in the announcement trailer.
So there's a bunch of stuff that's story related, and there's a bunch of stuff that's audition related that we can't talk about right now. I wish I could go into more detail, but we continue to have a great relationship with all of those actors. Jen doing something with us very recently, and we'll have more announcements about casting in the future, but there's really a bunch of spoilery story stuff that is one of the reasons we're not talking about it directly.
Thank you.
I was wondering, could you talk a little bit about co-op? Because in Halo 3, if you played as players 2 through 4, you weren't acknowledged. And in Halo Reach, it was kind of a step in the right direction. But then when it went to cutscenes, everyone was just one Noble 6.
What I will say. So I will say co-op is a big part of the Halo experience. It's something that we think about throughout the crafting of our campaign, and something that as our mission designers are building the campaign experience, it's always top of mind, and that's probably all I'm going to say on that. Word.
Hey guys, it's 117 from the Waypoint Forum from Xbox Live. First off, I just want to say thank you for Halo Fest. I think I can speak to the entire community. Celebrate all the years that we've had of this great game, and it's really great. My question is, the music that we saw in the Halo Fest trailer, or rather, can we expect to see that again in Halo 4 possibly? Or was that an exclusive sort of thing?
I can actually tackle that question. So the Halo Fest trailer was actually done by our friends at IGN. Okay. So the music was actually provided by them as well. So that was their music. It sounded great, but that was not done in-house.
Okay. All right, thanks guys.
I understand that a lot of the information regarding Halo 4 you guys can't really specify information or whatnot or talk about. But, I had a question about the Forge feature. I was just wondering if there was any new changes or ideas that may or may not come to fruition with the new Halo 4, like things such as copy and paste, select all, snapped objects, things like that. Or I don't know if you guys can talk about it, but I figured.
Forge, I think, has been an engine for the community to create and share amazing creations, and it's something that, as a studio, we believe very, very strongly in, and so we are continuing to invest in developing that tool set, and so definitely that's going to be something that is a big part of what we do with Halo 4.
Thank you.
But you mentioned that there's more, you're going to be dealing more with active Forerunner tech and stuff like that. So I was wondering if there'd be more in new weapons, you'd be dealing with Forerunner weapons or maybe Forerunner vehicles.
Josh obviously touched on this with the question before, but one thing I always like to bring up is that when you're building a sequel to a game, you have to add things, right? You have to evolve things and you have to change things up. And you can just plain add weapons, or you can if you think about the DMR and the VR as kind of one's effectively a replacement for the other, obviously. Well, one thing that's important about the Halo universe is it's a really big universe, and you've seen a palette of things. So as we think about things that we're adding to the game, we're looking not just to the past or investing in future stuff, we're just saying, what other stuff would the UNSC use? What other stuff does humanity have access to? And a tricky particular for Halo 4 is it takes place post the discovery of Covenant technology, Forerunner technology. So we've been being beaten back by the Covenant and haven't really had the time or the luxury to invest in research. Well, Karen Travis's novel Glasslands is going to touch on how the human race, when it's not being rocked back on its heels, is actually a fairly formidable force. And given time and given the scientific curiosity that we have as a species, all of this stuff is going to be really interesting in terms of how we can advance our technology. And but the UNSC stuff will still be gritty and warlike and very human. But there's lots more to come.
Thank you. So I think we have time for about 4 more questions. The first 2 in each line. You guys are good to go. Of course, we have to cut it off after that.
I just had a question. With the transition between Bungie and 343, what's been the biggest challenge that you guys didn't predict or foresee?
Well, we had to put in industrial strength toilets in the men's bathroom because it was too weak for the action that we had. That was definitely the most challenging thing, certainly for my boss is in the audience right now, and she's going to talk to me about that challenge after this.
I should have just filled those toilets right after lunch because it was great.
It's clear that women's restrooms are fine. We built this team essentially from scratch, and so we brought in all this amazing talent. I think we probably have 25 to 30 different game studios represented. And, the hard part felt like it was going to be, let's make sure we can build a Halo together. And I think, given everyone's passion and understanding of Halo, that ended up being a smoother piece. I think the hard part was really taking all these people from different backgrounds and who have different understandings of what feel like common terms, and bringing that group together and really making sure that we could always sort of move forward as one group. And I think as we keep adding people, it's been a really rapid ramp. But thankfully, we have a very senior leadership team. And so rather than it being too disruptive, we're actually able to gain the experience from all these different studios and all the different games that people have worked on and bring that.
But it does add a luxury that you don't have if you're building a franchise from scratch, or even if you're in a team that's always worked on one game, which is that, with the 200 or so people in the studio, 199 of them came to the studio because they wanted to work on Halo. And that's probably completely unique, right? Is every single person there, their destination was Halo rather than a job.
Yeah. And I would say I would take a different angle on your original question, which is I think that part of the reason why the transition between Bungie and 343, the thing that's made it easier or smoother, is that both studios, both companies have looked to the best way to take care of the community. That's something that Bungie's always done a fantastic job of. It's part of why Halo has been so successful, that they have cared so deeply about the community. Really important to have a common ground for both 343 and Bungie is, how do we make sure that this goes as smoothly as it can possibly go, and that the community is well taken care of. Thank you.
So you said that we're going to be exploring a little bit of John's character in the game. I was wondering if that includes a little bit of his origin as a theme.
It's funny that most of the people in this audience know John's origin inside out. They know how old he was when he was kidnapped, they know what happened to his bones. Most people don't know that. You know, there's maybe 8 million Halo players out there who are completely unaware of his origin, and it's definitely something that we're sort of passionate about because it's formed him, and it's one of the things that separates him and differentiates him from, you know, all of the other military forces from Earth. Is he's in some ways alone and a very strange character. I mean, he's obviously a hero to humanity, but he's a fairly tragic figure in some ways. It's something we definitely would like to explore in the future, but I'm not committing to whether that's in Halo 4 or not. This is definitely something that we'll explore.
I think anytime you embark on a creative endeavor, you need sort of that point of fascination that brings everything together. And John and his backstory is truly fascinating, and that's something that we as a team have really loved to explore. And it does inform the work that we're doing on Halo 4 in a really deep way.
Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for bringing in the backstory even in Halo Reach with Dr. Catherine Halsey and that type. I was just curious about that element, seeing with Cortana and John, those relationships that exist. Can we expect a little bit more exploration of that aspect of it as we go forward in Halo 4?
Yes.
Awesome, thanks.
Hey, I was wondering if we're going to see the stories of characters like Akin are going to be continued through the Halo series.
Ooh, good one.
So, yeah, I think that very, very quickly you're going to see some stuff happening with ODSTs and elites in Glasslands.